You recently reported that 95% of sales in Sweden are cashless. Why is that important to note?
Well, in Sweden and Denmark, these Scandinavian countries, we're seeing a move toward a cashless society. In fact, in Denmark, they have a stated goal of eradicating cash, that's their term, by the year 2030. So Bible prophecy teachers for decades have been warning about someday we'll go to a cashless society. Someday, we won't be, everyone will use a chip or whatever. But it's actually, in countries like Sweden and Denmark, it is now happening. In fact, if you go to Sweden, a lot of banks, they don't give out cash and they don't take cash anymore. It's all digital currency. ATMs are shutting down by the thousands. They're pulling ATMs out because people don't use them anymore. It's just scanning. It's cards for everything. And even in churches, many churches today, you go in, that's how you give your tithe. That's how you give your offering, is you scan. And in fact, many churches, that's how they collect almost all of what they bring in. So this is what's happening over there in Europe, and that should ring some alarm bells for some people. And so we're seeing this movement toward it, and of course it's happening all over the world. Even if you go here in the United States, if you pay for cash for a hotel room, the FBI says that's suspicious activity. That's something the hotel should keep an eye on and maybe report to the government, because they're like, are they, they're trying to do something suspicious. See, why governments like this is because when we go cashless and everything's through the computer, they can watch us, they can track us, they can monitor us. It's part of this big brother police state control grid that's slowly surrounding us in thousands of different ways, so they like it. Now, banks like the cashless system too, because what it enables banks to do, when you swipe your card, well, that's a fee. They collect a fee. So they don't like people to use so much cash because they want to collect their swipe fees. They want to collect their interest charges on the credit cards, all of that, so they make more money. So the banks love it, government loves it, and so there's this push all over the world. Even in places like India, I recently wrote an article about this. They're starting to promote the use of digital currency, of cards, of getting people away from cash. Even in a poor country like India, we're seeing a push toward this. So this is happening slowly all over the world. In fact, in some countries in Europe, they've banned cash transactions over a certain level. Italy has done this. Spain is another country that has done this. So you can only do a cash transaction up to a couple thousand euros, whatever it is per country. Anything above that, it's against the law to do a cash transaction above that. And they say, well, we're going to catch money launderers, we're going to catch people, the drug dealers, we're going to catch tax evaders, all these people. But in the end, we know what we're moving toward. We've read the book of Revelation, and we know where this is going. And so this is happening. Bible prophecy is being fulfilled right in front of our eyes, Jim.
Yes, it is.
So you're feeling like the Antichrist system literally has to have some system like this to control what we buy and sell.
Yeah, and this is what we're moving toward. And then eventually what happens when, okay, you can't use cash, you've got to use the digital system, you've got to go through their system, and then they can tell us who gets to use the system and who doesn't. If you don't have your government-issued identification, if you don't, then and so then the government can come in and set conditions and say, okay, to use our system, you've got to believe in this, or you've got to agree to that, or you've got to pay this tax, or whatever it is. The government can set a condition to use the system, and without cash, well, everyone has to do it, to buy, to sell, to get food for their family, to open a bank account, to do any of these things. What would we do if you can't have a bank account? You can't get a job without it. So this is the system. We're moving toward this.